Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I know that there's going to be some people joining over the next minute or so. So I'm just going to ease the discussions before I jump straight in and just give some people some time to join in. Oh, I see some of you guys that I've been speaking to today, some of the people that I've been speaking to for some time. Guys, I'm so happy that you've taken some time this evening um, to have me, what feels like speak to myself, but I know you guys are listening. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. You guys may not realize this, but for those of you that are hearing my voice for the first time, this is possibly one of the biggest steps you can take in your migration journey, which is getting the information that you need to decide how you're going to position yourself to get to the goals you want to get to. Okay. So this really is a small celebration for each and every one of you because, like I say, getting the right information makes you think and makes you decide what the right moves are moving forward. So again, thank you all for taking some time this evening to get the right information. So first of all, who are we? Like I mentioned, some of you guys I haven't spoken to yet. So we are Dizon Associates. We're an Australian immigration law firm as well as an international recruitment company. Now, our company was established about 16 years ago. Main office is based in Melbourne in Australia. And I am based in our wonderful Cape Town office here in South Africa. It is very cold and it's not so amazing right now, but usually is quite nice. Okay. Like I said, we are Australian owned, as well as our owner, who is Paul Dizon, is a registered migration agent, as well as an immigration attorney. Okay. So not all migration agents are immigration attorneys, and obviously not all immigration attorneys are migration agents. But we're lucky enough to have all in one place because of that we would like to offer a holistic support to our clients to be able to assist in any capacity that we can. Okay. I say this because not or every single one of your journeys is unique to your journey. Okay. Even though there are multiple teachers here or a person that has a similar trade, the fact that you have perhaps studied in a different location, that you have got work experience that is different, all of the little minute differences that may not be something of importance makes your journey unique. Okay. So I always like to remind people, treat yourself as special and as unique as you are. Okay. So because of that, because of having these little differences in your journey can look completely different to someone else's. Because of that, it's important to have a discussion with someone like me that can have a look at those little differences and make sure that things are still good to go. Okay. Now, because we've been in business for 16 years, we have got proven success. I'd be very sad and I'd be like completely disheartened with life in general if after 16 years we haven't had any success stories. So guys, take note of that as well. We have got quite a few success stories, and the company essentially started with Paul going after difficult migration cases. Okay, so he's pretty much built this company on individuals that never thought Australia was an option for them. And because he's built success on that, we know that because we can get through the toughest of toughest cases, we're able to have the confidence to succeed with applications that are perhaps not as tough. Okay. The company itself is very focused on compliance because we are a registered migration agency. We are governed by particular laws in Australia that require us to work in a certain way, that require us to work in regards to upholding certain standards and ethics for your safety. Okay. It is important that we are able to treat you guys with the dignity and respect that you deserve, not just within Australia, but because we're an extension of our Australian company, that same kind of respect is followed through no matter what we do, no matter where we're located, because it's important to us. It's not just because we are focused on compliance, but because it is some of the key values that each and every one of us that work at Dizon Associates values independently as well. Okay. Now, some of you may have focused on the fact that I said we're an international recruitment company. And the way that we do this is because we've got employer sponsorships or employer partnerships. My apologies there. Now, the employer partnerships that we focus on, it's not a reverse recruitment situation where you guys send us your CVs and we go and seek employment opportunities for you. What we do is we have existing partnerships as well as a recruitment team that is based in Australia. And what they do is they physically go out to different areas, different regions, and they build partnerships with companies within the country. And how we do this, or why we do this, is so that we can continuously assist those same companies and build relationships with them. This means that we understand the company, we understand the needs of the company, and we are able to better not just assist the company, but to better assist you as a potential applicant wanting to be put forward to the company. Now, why this is important is if we are completely honest, and I always love that because I can only be, or I can only do the best work that I can possibly do with your honesty. And I give you guys that same respect in terms of honesty as well. It is for your own safety that you are placed with a company, if this is a route that you're pursuing, that you can trust, right? If you're looking at making the move, it is not, or does not just come down to employment. And if it is simply because of employment, then you would like to be placed with a company that is aligned with your growth goals, or your career goals that you've got set in place. And it would be a disservice to yourself if you are not placed in that opportunity or that position. Okay. So our employer partnerships are built on a foundation that it is beneficial to you as a candidate, as well as the company that we're assisting the recruitment process with. Now, this evening comes down to planning, okay? I'd like this evening to be about, or this information session to be about the practical insights of what you need to consider when considering. So not really what to expect when expecting, because guys, we're not expecting anything other than success here. So let's rather just focus on your practical insights for immigration, understanding what your options are and how you can use those key steps to actually plan a move. Okay. Now, there are also a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself before starting. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, making the move is not just about South Africa's unemployment rate. Okay. We all know what it is. It's terrifying, guys. We're beating records. I mean, let's be happy. Hey, South Africa. We're good at sport. Who knew unemployment was a sport as well? But if we don't laugh, we cry. So let's leave it at that. Like I say, key questions are not just about considering employment, it's about considering all the factors of why you're wanting to leave South Africa. And if the areas in which you intend, or the countries in which you intend to migrate to, if they align with the reasons why you're leaving. Now, why Australia? I get a lot of questions with regards to why Australia, or I hear a lot of reasons as to why Australia, rather. Now, because a lot of people have the initial idea of, oh yeah, there are a lot of good opportunities in Australia. I know that my skill is in demand. I've got friends, families, a colleague moved across and they're loving it there. But we're not looking at the actual statistics of a potential move, right? So Australia has got amazing economic opportunities, okay? And it's not just me saying that because I'd love to assist you. It is me saying it because it is statistically proven, okay? Australia's got an unemployment rate of 4.1%. It was about 3.8%, but it has gone up to 4.1. This is recent as of a couple months ago. So all my stats, disclaimer, all my stats are recent as recent can be. Okay. And if you're looking at February 2025, there were just under 330,000 job vacancies. Okay. That doesn't mean job vacancies in your specific area of expertise. It means across the board from farmers to pharmacists to fitters and turners to teachers to nurses to doctors to accountants to everybody. Okay. So those are job vacancies. Okay. Now, Australia's got a high quality of life, and the way that you can actually review the different quality of lives. Guys, I'm not a rapper, but I feel like something may have been coming on there. So if you look at the OECD, it is a program that looks at your national or your first world countries, a lot of first world countries, and it rates the life index across certain aspects of a country. Okay. So it will look at, for instance, your income, education, health or access to healthcare services, social services, as well as state provided services. And they will rate that according to the likelihood of how easy it is to access, as well as the quality obtained from it. And Australia does get one of the highest ratings amongst all of those different aspects, showing or indicating that a quality of life overall, and not just related to your job, you would have a good life. Okay. Now, this also means that mentioning those things of the quality of your life, it means that your children have got good quality access to education. Okay. This means education from grade 1 up until finishing secondary school. Not primary school, preschool is still quite privatized and quite expensive. So because of that, you still have, for those of us, that dream of being the house husband or housewife. I said house husband there. A lot of the teachers that are listening, ladies. Um, it allows for one individual, the salaries in Australia and what you can potentially earn still allow for one individual to stay at home while another can take care of kids. Okay. You have got access to healthcare. Now, this is dependent on certain visa types. Okay. But if you're making a move permanently and you hold permanent residency, this means that you've got access to healthcare. Okay. Another reason why Australia is a great place is because of political stability as well as safety. Now, when I try to find statistics on safety, I went into a spiral getting depressed about South Africa's safety statistics versus Australia because I couldn't find anything over 2.8% with regards to any kind of violent crimes, any kind of criminal activity, if I can say it like that as a whole. Okay. And Australia is also a very multicultural and inclusive society. It would be very hypocritical seeing that it is a country built on migrants. So just remember that for those that are very worried about cultural diversity and if you'd feel out, because most likely you're not going to. Okay, now the most important thing when you are considering migration is what are your goals? Okay. It's not just about, like I mentioned, it's not just about securing employment. We need to get a better understanding of what your short-term goals are versus your long-term goals, simply because they can align and the efforts in which we place or the emphasis in what we place on whatever is important to you guys short-term can build on long-term success. Okay. So are you looking at securing employment in the short term? Is it that you're going to study in Australia? Are you focusing on making the move alone or with your dependents? Long term, do you have someone in Australia that you're looking to live with or live or move across for? Um, is it a lifestyle change that you are intending on making? Are you looking at applying for permanent residency? What does success look like to you? Okay. I mentioned to you earlier that this is a very unique journey and everyone's goals are different. And I like to remind people that just because you have long-term goals, it is not for us to discount your short-term needs. Okay. And what we will try to do is we will always try to accommodate those short-term needs where realistic to ensure that the process itself is still one of value to you so that it doesn't you cannot discount your current commitments. Okay. But we also don't want to write off the long-term goal simply because these commitments don't allow for the big idea right away. It's important that we can build up towards those goals, but we need to understand them firstly. Okay. Now, when you're considering the move, you've got different visa options, again, depending on the goals that you are trying to achieve. If you are looking at applying for residency directly, you do have that option. You can apply under general skilled migration. Now, what general skilled migration is, it is a program that the Australian government have rolled out. It does allow a skilled individual to apply for residency without a job offer. I know, guys, you don't actually have to have a job to go to Australia. And no, this doesn't mean that we're going to put you on an airplane and you're going to get there and you're going to stand on the street corner going like dancing and figuring it out and saying, come, I'm just from South Africa. I need a job. Guys, we keep that here. We keep those things here. Okay. What we're doing with general skilled migration is you're building the foundation of your success. Okay. General skilled migration is for individuals that want to make and for families that want to make a solid move with a solid foundation. You are getting your residency. Now, you'll see there are three different visas. 189 is permanent residency. 190 is permanent residency. And a 491 is temporary residency that leads to permanent residency. Now, I don't want to get into too much information this evening because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I just want you to know that you've got options, but we can discuss these relevant to your specific circumstances when you guys reach out to me. Okay. But besides that, 189, 190 are permanent residency, 491 temporary residency that leads to permanent residency. Now, all three of these options do not require you to have a job offer. This is a process whereby you show you've got a skill set, you show the value you can potentially bring to Australia's economy. And because of that value, guys, because you are valuable, you're unique, you're special, your mom loves you, your dad loves you, everyone loves you, Australia loves you, okay? Because you've got a skill that is required and can uplift the environment, the economy, hopefully the environment as well, guys. Let's not do more damage. Because you've got a skill that is beneficial to the economy, you can showcase that skill and you'd be allowed to apply for residency. Okay. Employer-sponsored visas, you've got a 482, which is your working visa, your normal working visa. There is one missing there, which is a 492. It's a regional working visa. And then a 186. This 186 is what everybody hopes to achieve, but it's like the lotto, guys. I mean, sometimes, I don't think there's anyone here that wouldn't want to win the lotto. But essentially the 186 is a work offer, a job offer that is granted to you or sponsored to you, and your employer supports you to apply for permanent residency directly. Okay. Like I said, it's a lotto. We can all dream big, but let's try to just dream realistically as well while we dream big. Okay. Your 482 is the most common working visa that you would get, but remember your working visa is conditional upon securing employment. Okay. I'm going to just take a break there so you guys can just, employer sponsored visa is conditional on the fact that you need to have employment. Okay. Now, on a side note to that, sponsorship is not anything financial. Employer-sponsored visa means that an employer is supporting your visa application. It means that they have gone to the Australian government and they have gotten allowance from the government to hire foreigners. And because they've got this allowance, they are allowed to sponsor you. And what they're sponsoring is their support. Like your partner might say, guys, giving you my support. And then they say something you like, but did you really support me now? That's what it's like, okay? Employer sponsorship is not anything financial. It is just a company supporting you with a job offer, okay? Now, where the finances come into play, and I'm not saying that a company will not pay for your stuff because, like I said, guys, we can dream big, we can play the lotto, but let's be realistic as well when we consider playing the lotto, okay? That a discussion with regards to finances is always dependent on the relationship you have with this potential employer, as well as the level of skill you can bring and what risk is attached to the skill that comes with you, if that makes sense, okay? Now, I'm going to just add another thing that some people may or may not like, but it may be something that you guys would need to hear. If you're looking for employer-sponsored opportunities, but your visa looks like a menu, okay? Guys, focus on general skilled migration. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get into the job market because a company doesn't need to take the financial risk of sponsoring you just to be another item on your menu, okay? There's a lot of finances that go into an employer sponsorship that's not got to do with supporting you, but it gets paid to government that a company doesn't have any say about. So by the time we get to the visa process of you actually applying for your work visa, a company could have already spent $15,000. Okay. So you need to be realistic with regards to the level of risk that comes with your profile. And if you have aligned yourself accordingly to show that you are trying everything you can to minimize this risk. And what I mean in terms of minimizing risk is having your skill assessment done. This skill assessment shows that you have skin in the game. You have done something to either pursue general skilled migration, you are doing something to meet visa requirements, you are committed, okay? You also have your student visas, your family, your partner visas. Guys, just with a partner visa, if one person, if for instance, a husband or a wife or a partner, whoever, a spouse, one person goes across and you intend on reuniting with your beloved one once they've settled in, you will not apply for a partner visa. You will apply for a dependent visa. A partner visa is only if you found a lacquer sticky in Australia and that lacquer sticky says, will you be mine? Okay, that is a partner visa. So your lacquer sticky needs to be an Australian citizen before you can apply for a partner visa. Okay. Now, key eligibility factors. So your occupation needs to be in demand in Australia, okay? Your occupation will determine the type of visas that you are eligible for, okay? So if your visa is, for instance, or if your skill set is, I'm going to say a grain mill worker, because I actually have a client who's a grain mill worker. Grain mill workers are not on the skill shortage list. However, there are certain labor concessions that allow to bypass the skill shortage list. So if you've got an employer that is willing to sponsor you and they fall within a region, this Dharma region, then they are allowed to make use of Dharma concessions and labor concessions to be able to apply for a working visa. Okay. So your skill, your occupation will define what type of visa options are open to you. Okay. So this is again why I say, guys, have a discussion with me, have a discussion with somebody that knows what they're talking about to understand what your pathways are. Okay. Most pathways are only available, or most pathways for permanent residency are only available up until the age of 45. After that, we can guide you on Dharma. Now, Dharma is a designated migration agreement, which allows, again, like I said, for labor concessions. So if you're over the age of 45, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily game over. Let me try to get into Canada or whatever. Canada is difficult. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, unless you've got a PhD, can speak French, can do 3 black backflips holding your breath, and then still sing their national anthem. Understand what requirements are for countries before you just flip-flop, okay? With Australia, you can still have the option to apply for permanent residency up until the age of 55. We just need to look at Dharma options. And if you are somebody that is over the age of 45, get into contact with me. Let's have a consultation. Let's understand which kind of regions you're eligible for, who you'd be able to, or how you'd be able to position yourself in order to find companies for sponsorship. Dharma means that you do need to go through employment sponsorship. So you want to invest your time and energy where you would see results. Okay. It's the same as if you want to lose weight. You're not going to like go work out 5 hours in the gym just to go sit and like Krispy Kreme for the rest of the day. Okay. Do what's going to give you results and focus your energy where it is required. Now, an English language or the English proficiency test is also an eligibility factor, because if you are going to work, if you are going to apply for permanent residency, or let me start like this. If you're going to work, you're going to need an English proficiency test, okay? Unless you come from the UK or an established English country like the US as well, you can decide, or you can evidence that you can speak English and you don't have to do that test. But because South Africa, guys, we're breaking records here, because we've got 11 official languages, we do need to show that we are proficient in one of those 11, which they can speak that side also, okay? So everybody needs to do the English proficiency test. If you're doing a work visa, you only need to, the person applying for the work visa would need to do the English proficiency test. The dependent or a spouse applicant that is going with does not need to do the English test. It is only at the point that we're applying for permanent residency would both partners be required to evidence English test. Okay. Now, qualifications and work experience. No matter if you're going to work, no matter if you're applying independently, you need to be able to show that you've got qualifications and that you've got relevant work experience. Okay. There is an exception to some rules, which means that if you are not, or if you do not hold the relevant qualification, we would be able to evidence work experience in lieu of the qualification. But again, those are relevant to, or that would need to be discussed within the circumstances of whatever needs to be discussed, okay? Broad, you need to have qualifications, and the work experience that you need to have needs to be relevant to the qualifications that you obtain, okay? If you intend on working in Australia, guys, a lot of times I hear that I will do anything. I promise I'll do anything. I'm awesome. I'm the best at whatever you're going to make me do. I'll do it. It's not that easy, okay? Even a work visa is a skilled work visa. And if you're applying for a work visa, we need to evidence the skill of the work you intend to do, okay? And that means that you need to have relevant work experience in the past 3 years for us to be able to show that you would be able to do the work you intend on going across for. Okay. Now, A skill assessment. A skill assessment is a third-party application that is done. It is a certification process that looks at the skill set that you claim to have, and it gets registered or recognized through a specific third party to be able to show that you are skilled within the area that you claim to be skilled in. Okay. Now, the skill assessment process is separate to government applications. The government applications, they just want to know from this registered third party, this recognized third party, that you say, it's like their trusted source. They say, give the thumbs up, and then they look, and then there's thumbs up, and then they're like, okay, cool, thumbs up. Government doesn't know the details of your occupation. So they rely on these third parties in Australia, these recognized organizations, to verify your skill level. Okay. Now, depending on your occupation, a skill assessment may be a requirement of your working visa. Okay. The skill assessment as well is a requirement if you're applying for general skilled migration to showcase that you hold a skill. Okay. So you will need to be able to, or you will need to do your skill assessment in order to go through the process, in order to strengthen yourself within the job market, in order to reach the goals you'd like to reach. Okay. Now, one thing I want to add on the skill assessment is the first step or this is the second step. The first step is considering if you want to go to Australia. Once you've decided, the next step is doing your skill assessment. And the skill assessment, we're not going to embark on a skill assessment if we can see you don't meet the minimum criteria. That would be like just putting on blindfolds and saying, guys, trust me, I've got a nose like a hound. Don't. Sometimes I breathe this way, sometimes I breathe. No, we don't do that. We're going to look at the minimum requirements. We're going to make sure that the work experience aligns. We make sure that the tasks and duties that is recognizable through your skill set is what you do on a daily basis. We need to verify that there is a path we can pursue before we pursue any kind of pursuing. Okay, so when we start this process, we recognize that the skill assessment is the starting step of everything. And we want to make sure that that skill assessment can happen. Okay. Now, one thing that is also important to remember is that your health and character requirements, they do play a substantial role in your eligibility factors. Okay. If you have certain health ailments, you may not be eligible for general skilled migration. However, you would still be eligible for working visa. Now, we have successfully gotten health waivers for clients with HIV, clients with cancer, as well as clients with not ADHD, autism, with autism. Okay. So like I mentioned right at the beginning, Paul has got this wonderful thing about him that he likes to go for the impossible cases, and win them. So because of that, we are confident that if you do have any health or character concerns, you address them with us initially. Let's understand the extent of what we're able to do, what your goal post could look like, and what the recognizable steps need to happen in order for us to get to the goals that's important to you. Okay. Now, general skilled migration is a process that is dependent on points. Now, for general skilled migration, you cannot be older than 45. The application needs to be in prior to that age cut off. So you need to have a minimum of these 65 points, and points are awarded to your age, awarded to your English proficiency, your education qualifications, your work experience, any kind of support either from state or regional sponsorship, as well as an Australian relative, And then if you have ever worked in Australia, there are certain kinds of questions that may still allow us to gain points, but they're not really that widely relevant to determine if you guys qualify or not. Okay. Now, the process for skilled migration or skilled migrant visa, it's really, I know it looks like a lot there, but it's pretty much like a three-step process. Okay. What we need to do is we need to get your skills assessed. The first step is in recognizing that you have a skill, a tangible skill that we're able to evidence. Once we've got this tangible evidence, we can use that to actually go back to Australia, be it through a state, through a region, or through Australia as a whole, and we can go and submit an expression of interest. This expression of interest is indicating to Australia that you have got the interest to be there long term. Okay. Once we get an invitation to apply, either from a state, from a region, from Australia, we can go ahead and we can proceed, apply for that sponsorship, that support. Again, you see the word sponsorship. They're not going to pay you anything. They're not going to pay anything for you. They're not going to do any kind of financial favors. They are supporting your application. Okay. And once we've got that support and we've got the go ahead to apply for the visa, we can actually go ahead and do so. To manage that workload. Okay. Now, cost that this process is going to cost you something. Whether you are looking at applying for work, whether you are looking to apply directly for permanent residency, there are cost considerations that you need to be aware of, and you need to take that, you need to factor that in. Okay. If it's not financially feasible for you, it's not financially feasible for you. Then there's no point in having this analysis paralysis, digging and diving through Facebook groups, trying to find that one individual that made it through God's grace. And I don't even know what, but guys, desperation breeds opportunist, and opportunists tend to take advantage. Okay, this is why I'm here this evening, because the values that we display at Dizon Associates really put at a forefront that you have got the right to information and you should make use of that right. Okay, make use of the right to get the right information and factor that right information into your planning. Okay, now, things that you need to consider, and I'm going to say this on a broad term if you're looking at applying for residency directly. Applying for residency directly for a family of four can cost you anywhere between 200 to 300,000 Rand. Okay. The process of these or the costs associated to the program, they're not all due up front. And if you want to have a better understanding of the costs, please reach out to me. I will send you a cost breakdown in detail so that you can understand over the time period what would be required of you, how you can financially plan, how can you financially prepare, and then get back to me. Have a discussion with me. Say, Nicole, it is difficult for us to do X, this, that. What is a more financially feasible option for us? And then we can look at financially feasible versus realistic. Okay. I'm not going to sell you guys a dream to make you feel happy about not spending money, because any kind of investment requires an investment. Okay. Now, your skill assessment, it's going to cost you, those third parties don't do it for love and charity. They do have a set fee. Now, depending on what skill set you hold or what occupation you are in, there are different assessing bodies. And the assessing costs can start anywhere from $600 all the way up to 10,000 plus. Okay, I know that vets, for instance, I think their process is about $12,000. Accountants, $620. Okay, so depending what kind of occupation you're in, there are associated fees with your skill assessment. Off the top of my head, I know that teachers are $1,284. licensed trades, so electricians and plumbers, air conditioning max, they are about $5,300. Unlicensed trade, so anyone else that works with their hands, is about $3,300. So wildly different costs. Reach out, but know that there are costs associated with it. Okay. Your English testing fees, they are about just over 5,000 Rand to just under 6,000 Rand. These are different tests that can be taken. However, also know that for certain skill assessments, you may need to do a specific English test with specific marks that need to be reached. Okay. Your visa applications have got costs attached to them, be it a work visa, be it the permanent residency visa. Whatever the case is, there are costs, government fees that you would need to be able to pay, as well as legal and professional fees. Now, guys, I'm quite funny, so like I throw that in as well. So it takes the blow of having to pay for our professional fees, but we do also offer you like a lot of support and assistance a lot of the time. Now, if it's not us, anybody else, they will also charge you a professional fee. One thing I can say that is if you do have a quotation from another company and you're saying, Nicole, you know what, I really like the joke you made about, I don't even remember what joke I made, but I like the joke and I'd really like to proceed with you guys. Except, I'm going to try and strong arm you because I got a quote somewhere else. We're happy to consider that, okay? We want you to move forward with the person that you feel you're most comfortable with, and we wouldn't want you choosing another company because of a slight fee difference, okay? We would want you to choose us because of us, okay? Now, be aware as well and mindful of the fact that relocation, travel, and settlement costs you would need to have if you want to fly first class versus economy, if you want to live in Sydney versus Alice Springs, if you want to live in a 14-bedroom mansion versus a 2-bedroom apartment, your lifestyle is wildly different from mine. So I won't know exactly the level of cost you're willing to outlay versus what I would. Okay. Now, again, even if you are going the working route, those kinds of fees are things that you would need to be somewhat secure on because you wouldn't want to lose out on a job offer because of a flight ticket. Okay. The cost to apply for permanent residency versus giving up a job opportunity because of an 8,000 or a 12,000 Rand flight, it's a very big cost cost now versus cost later. Okay. So you want to position yourself financially as best as possible to be able to work through this process. Now, common challenges that I often hear from individuals is they are worried about changes and delays in visa policies, and there was current elections, and now there's a new financial year that is going to start next month. What if I start this process and everything changes? Guys, we will understand the limitations of your visa options based on your qualifications and your job, your occupation. We'll understand what that whether you are on the short-term list, the long-term list, if it is Dharma, and we will have a realistic discussion about that. Okay, like I said, we want to ensure that our values come through in the work that we do. Okay. And because I mentioned that, I actually want to take a moment just to touch on the values that we really hold important to us at Dizon Associates. And one of the main values is integrity. Okay. All that we do because we as individuals at Dizon Associates, we deserve to work with integrity. Personally, I feel that I would rather be a type of person that when I leave the office, I can walk into my home and look at my two girls and continue treating and acting the way that I've worked the entire day, rather than let me do this and this and this and then go home and be this amazing mom. No, I will just be the amazing mom all the time. Okay, so values such as integrity is something that we hold dear to our heart. The standards that we want to put forward to every single one of our clients doesn't change because of your goals, because of your cost considerations, doesn't change because you don't qualify. Um, every single person that comes into contact with Dizon Associates deserves to be treated with the same integrity, respect, and value that, you know, even that person that just comes to say hi versus the person that has made the entire move with us. Okay. We want to do this because it offers you safety and protection through this service and not feel that you need to go and be an opportunity for an opportunist. Okay. So another common challenge is not qualifying for points threshold. Again, this is something that we will understand prior to proceeding with the application. We need to know what pathway exists in order to pursue it. We're not here to play pin the tail on the donkey, glow in the dark, you know, whatever kids games. I need to think of kids games. I got my kid's birthday party on Saturday and I need to think of games. I can't blank like this on Saturday, guys. The pressure is high. So pray for me. Another common challenge is struggling to find or struggling to secure job offers. A lot of people have the misconception that the only way they can immigrate is through securing a job offer. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that is not the only way. You can apply for residency without a job offer. And if you are hard set on the job route, know that it is conditional. Know that you may be losing out on the option to apply for residency and secure your future, your family's future in another country, because you are focusing on one factor rather than trying to go the route that is best available to you and your family. Okay. Who better to depend on than yourself? Okay. Financial pressure does also become a challenge, and this isn't something that we say lightly. Like I mentioned, cost considerations are important, and we're not going to discount your short-term needs over your long-term goals. It is not fair to feel that because you cannot afford to apply for permanent residency directly, that you don't have the chance to make the move in Australia. Then we need to strategically understand how to pursue the job market. Okay. And that strategic process focuses on you as an individual and what is available to you as an individual. Okay. How you can secure yourself, your future, how you can position yourself and invest your time and efforts into finding the right job offer for you. Okay. Misunderstanding eligibility because your friends, cousins, aunts, sisters, old teacher made the move 30 years ago and they did it so easy. And then an old colleague that you worked with 14 years ago just gave birth that side and they said it was easy as well. Guys, please don't build a process of other people's journeys. I said it a few times and I don't mind saying it again. You are unique. Your work experience is unique. Your eligibility is unique. So we need to understand what your eligibility is and what the pathway looks like for you. And the last thing, which it breaks my heart and I hear it a lot, is applicants falling for scams and unregulated agents. Okay. You can go and look at the OMARA website, which is the Registrar for Migration Agents. You can go and search Paul Dizon and you will find Dizon Associates. You will find our registration number, where the company is based, who we are, so that you can protect yourself. Okay. Now, how we can support you, and this is not something I want to go into detail with because I'm pretty sure those of you that can recognize the support and the things that I've said and what I've done, you will be able to understand what we offer. Okay. We are an immigration law firm, which means we can support you from beginning to end. That depends on how you want to make the move, where you want to move, through what process you'd like to make the move. It will be in beginning to end to end. We're starting at the beginning, right? So guidance. We want to guide you through the process, help you with planning, help you with the assessment, the documentation, help you with the strategy. We want to help you plan for your future because only through taking things at a manageable pace are we able to see differences. Okay. Preparing you for job readiness and recruitment alignment, like I said, if you cannot afford to make the move through um, general skilled migration, don't discount your future in Australia. Let's understand what we can do to meet in the middle to prepare you effectively and efficiently and get you into the job market. Okay. Let's look at family planning and pathway diversification. Now, this is an important aspect because what we do is we look at the options that are available to you. All options, everything that is realistic, and it is up to you. It is your life. It is your future. It is the steps that you are going to take that are going to make the difference. We are here to support. Okay. I was going to make a terrible joke, but I won't. If you reach out to me, I might make it. Okay. And then last but not least, we offer legal services. Okay. We've got the legal resources to back up the process. We've got the legal resources to understand if there are complexities and speed bumps that come into our path that we can just slow down, go over it, and keep going. Okay. Now, I want to just take a moment this evening to thank everybody that has joined in this evening to get a better understanding of what your options are. See, I've only lost a few of you. We've helped a lot of people just like you make the move stress-free and successfully. Okay. We cannot make the move for you, but what we can do is we can help you. Okay. You guys will receive an email that will come through just thanking you for joining the session. And should you like to get into touch with me, respond to that email, send me your CV, send me your qualifications. Let's pick up the conversation and let's see how we can help you reach your dreams and a new life in Australia, because I'd love to see that happen. Guys, have a good evening.